Coming up in this episode of Rebel Report, a change to the Rebel football schedule that puts other featured games in jeopardy.
Plus, a recap of last weekend's game at San Jose State.
And later, our Ashley Dickinson sat down with Rebel football recruit Anthony Rosas for an exclusive interview. Welcome to Studio B on the campus of UNLV. This is the Rebel Report. I'm Kenny Jemison.
I'm Danny Smythe. Before we dive into local sports news of the week, we want to tell you what we're all about and what we hope to give you watching at home.
Every week for half an hour, we will cover UNLV athletics, the games, the events, the athletes, and the coaches.
But we're also here to cover all the major sporting events happening in Southern Nevada and tell stories you won't see anywhere else.
Let's begin with our top story. The Rebels football team's scheduled game against Colorado State this weekend has been canceled due to COVID-19. Matt Atencio has the breakdown of what happened.
COVID-19 has claimed another football game in the college football landscape, this time canceling the game between the Colorado State Rams and the UNLV Rebels. The announcement came down on November 18th after the UNLV Rebels athletic director, Desiree Reed-Francois, announced that 4 players had tested positive for the virus. The ruling came just days after the athletic department at UNLV announced that no fans would be allowed at games due to an uptick in cases across the Las Vegas Valley. Head football coach Marcus Arroyo stated that the team is very disappointed to not be playing Colorado State this weekend, but understands the circumstances. The health and safety of our players and staff remains our top priority, and we are proud of the lengths everyone has gone through to play football in 2020. We look forward to playing again as soon as possible.
To have the fortitude right now with the morale to be a college student and have no one on campus and just do football and go back to your dorm and then do academics online, that there's something to be said about that. This isn't a normal landscape or environment, and I give them kudos all the time in regards to the way they're handling this stuff and the way that the staff and we support them, and the constant encouragement and communication as a culture we have. These guys have been committed to this the whole time.
As of right now, no plan to replay the game at a later date has been established. This brings the total to 14 canceled or postponed games in college football this week alone, and the second in the Mountain West. It is unclear as well if this cancellation will affect next week's game for the Rebels against the Wyoming Cowboys. Reporting for Rebel Report, I'm Matt Atencio.
This past weekend, UNLV football took on conference rival San Jose State this weekend in California. Corey Barnes has a recap of the game.
San Jose State remains undefeated of their current record this season by taking the win against the UNLV Rebels. This is the first time since 2004 that the Rebels have fallen to a 0-4 record in a season. The San Jose Spartans spoiled the homecoming of former quarterback UNLV head coach Marcus Arroyo at CEFCU Stadium. Despite the Rebels scoring first with a short field goal, the Spartans took advantage with a 24-10 score at halftime.
First off, I can tip my cap to my partner, Coach Brennan there at San Jose. He's done a nice job with that group. We played a really great opponent on the road in the infant stages of our program and in our new build, and fell short, ended with a win on Saturday night. So, but we had to play better and more consistent in order to do all those things in all phases, OD and special teams. Top of our list this week was competing and understanding what that's about. We described that in our program, working versus competing, and handling adversity and challenges, the ebbs and flows of a football game, and understand the keys to victory and the cycle of a snap for us as a football program and finishing.
This is the 6th straight game that the UNLV Rebels has lost against the San Jose State Spartans since its last win at the stadium in 1993. Despite the Rebels striving for the win, the game settled with a 17-34 final score.
You know, we didn't do enough things right in order to beat a good team, and we've done a really thorough job last night of going through that and being descriptive. And we continue to be encouraged by some of the flashes of improved play that we're seeing, but we still have inconsistencies inherent in a brand new team. But those inconsistencies for us are leading too often to series or situations we're not able to yet overcome on a consistent basis and make up for them. So the penalties in the game were costly. effort's accounted for, and we understand that. We're asking for that. We praise effort, but it has to be with a combination of that and smart football.
Make sure to tune in with Rebel Report and check our social media pages for the latest.
Running Rebel fans rejoice. The team schedule for the upcoming 2020-2021 season has been released. The men's team plays their first game next Wednesday, November 25th against Montana State. This will serve as a nice tune-up before the Rebels head out for the Maui Invitational and their first game against the North Carolina Tar Heels. After the Invitational, they play 3 more out-of-conference games before starting conference play on December 20th against the Wyoming Cowboys. No tip-off time for conference play has been set yet.
This will mark the Rebels' 4th appearance in the tournament, with their last one being in 2015. The tournament is usually held in Maui, Hawaii, but was relocated to Asheville, North Carolina due to COVID-19. The 7 other programs selected to participate are Texas, Davidson College, Indiana, Providence, North Carolina, and Stanford and Alabama. The tournament will be held from November 30th to December 2nd. The Rebels' first game will be on the 30th at 4 p.m. on ESPN2. It's a sad day for UNLV sports fans. The athletic department announced the final 2 home football games, as well as the start of the basketball season, will be played without fans in the stands. COVID-19 positive tests have increased in the Las Vegas Valley, bringing the community into the red category. The university stated they are following Southern Nevada Health District guidelines and will not allow fans to attend UNLV home sporting events. The Rebels are scheduled to play Wyoming on November 27th and Boise State on December 4th. Men's and women's basketball, which is scheduled to start on November 25th, will also not allow fans for the foreseeable future. UNLV Athletics has said they will continue to monitor the situation to determine when fans will be allowed back into the stands.
The Raiders were looking to continue their 2-game winning streak when they hosted division rival Denver Broncos this past Sunday. This is the first matchup for the season between these 2 teams. Derek Carr got the Raiders off to a quick start with this 26-yard pass on 3rd and 5. Later in the drive, Josh Jacobs takes a handoff for 12 yards into the end zone for his first touchdown of the game. He would add a second score just before the end of the 3rd quarter. Former Bronco Devontae Booker had a breakout game as he rushed for a season-high 81 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Raiders combined to rush for over 200 yards as a team. The Raiders defense had their best game of the season against the Broncos. They only allowed 12 points and forced 5 turnovers, including 4 interceptions. Jeff Heath had 2 of those interceptions in the first half, one of which was in the end zone just before halftime, saving a potential score by the Denver offense. After the game, Coach Gruden gave praise to his entire team.
I think Jeff Heath started it off. Jeff Heath has made some big plays. He's not playing, 100%, but getting close to it. I think he got the fire started. We got just some good overall play by a lot of guys on defense. Paul Gunther and his staff have tweaked the defense the last few weeks, and we were opportunistic. Ryan Nassib on his own blitz got an interception. I thought we did a great job stripping the ball. We need to create more turnovers, fumbles. And, again, we ran the football extremely well, and that's the recipes that we're looking for here.
The Raiders are looking to keep cooking up those recipes when division rival Kansas City Chiefs come to town this weekend. Vegas has already beaten them once this season, and another win can bring them within a game of the division lead.
The Miami Marlins have made a groundbreaking hire last week. Stephen Yonts has the story.
Last Friday, the Miami Marlins announced that Kim Ng would be their new general manager. This move is historic as Ng will become the first female general manager for any of the male major sports in North America. Ng said that the general manager position was not her initial goal when she started working in baseball, but she worked hard to get where she is today.
The thought of being a general manager really didn't enter my mind until I had become an assistant GM. And that's really the way a lot of my career has gone, is just every step of the way, working as hard as I could, keeping my nose to the grindstone, and just, getting to the next level. That's all it was about.
Kim also says she is excited to join such a diverse organization in Miami.
You know, diversity, it comes in all different forms. You know, it's diversity of thought, diversity of background, experience, and that's one thing that was, that really struck me about this organization. You know, when you look at the staff that has been built, look at the female representation in different departments, it's pretty awesome. And, the Caroline O'Connor is the COO. Obviously Derek is the CEO. So I think all of that, really lends itself to being a great story, a positive story, and one that, hopefully will inspire others.
Ang says that she hopes young girls notice her and realize that there are no limits to their goals. She inherits a Miami ball club that made the playoffs with the lowest payroll in 2020. Reporting for Rebel Report, I'm Steven Yance.
Coming up after the break, we take a look at the NBA draft. Stay tuned to find out our thoughts on where the top prospects went.
And don't forget to check out our weekly podcast on Spotify. Every week, we break down all of the big sports stories happening in Las Vegas, including the Rebels, Raiders, Golden Knights, and much more.
That's it for today's class. Your assignment for tonight is to watch Rebel Report.
What's Rebel Report?
Ever heard about the best sports news program in Nevada?
Nah.
They cover everything sports in Southern Nevada.
I thought everything was canceled.
Nah, the Mountain West is bringing back football, baby, and UNLV's got a scary matchup against the Rebels at the new Allegiant Stadium.
Didn't you guys throw down last year?
Yeah, there was a fight last year, but you know what? We won the fight, and we smacked them.
We gotta get revenge this year then. I really want to see what you guys have to say about it on Rebel Report.
Yeah, you're gonna want to tune into this one.
What about other Las Vegas sports?
We got you covered on every sport, from the Raiders to MMA to the Aces, the Golden Knights, boxing, you name it, we got you covered.
If I miss the show and it airs on Channel 2?
Hey, if you miss the show, don't worry about it. All of our shows are going to be posted on YouTube and Facebook, so you can watch it anytime, anywhere.
The 2020 NBA Draft took place this week. 60 players from around the world heard their names being called by the commissioner as they were chosen to play for their new NBA franchises. Here with me today to discuss the draft is Steven Yance. Thank you for coming on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
I'm doing well. So the draft was this week. What were your overall thoughts? Any surprise picks or trades that happened during the draft?
To me, the biggest surprise was Patrick Williams going 4th overall. He wasn't even a starter at Florida State. He did win 6th Man of the Year, but he's a raw talent for sure. I think that was a big surprise, like not even a starter in college getting picked that high overall.
Yeah, that was a surprise. Normally the top 10 or so are big name starters in college, but as you said, he came off the bench.
Exactly.
And LaMelo Ball, he went number 3. Were you surprised by that? The whole week leading up to the draft, he was listed as most likely the number 1 pick, but he dropped 3 to the Hornets. What were your thoughts?
I wasn't that surprised. The books had Anthony Edwards like minus 240, I think, right before the draft. So it was kind of leaning that way, that he wasn't going to go number 1. And then the Warriors obviously found their guy because they wanted a big man. So I feel like LaMelo found his home in Charlotte. We'll finally get to see that LeVar MJ one-on-one action.
How do you think that whole relationship is going to go with LeVar Ball and Michael Jordan?
That's a good question, man.
We know LeVar, he speaks his mind. Nobody can calm him down. How do you think that's going to go?
That's a good question. I don't know. We're going to see, I guess, if LeVar will give MJ his GOAT credit or if he'll, keep his ego thing going on. But I think he'll have to tone it down. He's obviously playing for the best. His son LaMelo is playing for the best basketball player ever. So,
yeah, it's going to be interesting because even after Lonzo was on the Lakers and towards the end when he almost got traded to the Pelicans, LeVar was talking about the Lakers will never get rid of him, even though they did. So I think it's going to be fun to watch that back and forth between LeVar and MJ.
Yeah, for sure.
And speaking of Wiseman, he went to Golden State. How do you think he's going to fit in there? He only played 3 games in college. He had some off-the-court issues, but obviously that didn't stop them. He was the #1 high school recruit, and being on Golden State, they're not really known for their centers just because of all the pieces around them. How do you think he'll fit in there?
I think he'll fit in good. You know, they needed a big man with the news of Clay coming like right before the draft too, that he might be hurt. We found out he tore his Achilles. I think they're going to need to kind of switch it up. They can't play small ball anymore. You know, without their 2 splash bros, they're going to need a big man down low to control the paint. I think he'll fit in good. Like he's also a raw talent. He only played 3 games, like you said. So I think it's a good pick for them. I think he'll fit in good.
And with him only having 3 games in college, and he went #2 overall, and LaMelo Ball went #3 overall and never played in college, although he did play a little bit overseas. Do you see the future of big-name prospects no longer going to college, that they'll either try to go straight to the G League or they'll just go play overseas for a year until they're ready to enter the draft?
I hope this is kind of trending in the right direction, because it's cool to see players kind of branch out, go overseas, like do their own thing. It doesn't have to be college or bust, or like we said with the center for the Warriors that they just drafted.
With Wiseman, yeah.
Wiseman, like he played 3 games. So.
Yeah, and like we said, the 2 of the 3 top picks barely played college. One of them didn't.
Yeah.
And I think they're all going to make their mark this year.
Yeah, it's great to see. You know, it's not like just college. Like you have to have a great season. Like you can go do your own thing overseas and prove yourself in another market. So I think it's good for the sport and the NBA.
All right, Stephen. Well, thank you for coming on the show. It was great talking to you. Get your mindset on how everything turned out. We'll be right back after this break.
Now we go to Ashley Dickinson, who has an exclusive interview with Rebel football recruit Anthony Rosas.
Don't cry about it. Don't whine about it. Get a reward for your pain.
So I have Anthony Rosas here. He is the UNLV football recruit for the 2021 class. And thank you so much for being here and giving me some of your time. So let's just get started. I read an article where you said the entire coaching staff at UNLV was recruiting you, and that was the deciding factor for you. Can you walk me through what that process was like?
Of course. So it basically is like I said, it started when me hitting up Coach Boom on Twitter. So the relationship right away just started building up from there with one of the coaches, which is Coach Boom, the running backs coach. It started with him, and then like the second week, Coach Boom saw that I was serious about UNLV, because at first they didn't really take me seriously because of me having other offers that are considered bigger and stuff like that.
Big school.
They weren't taking me seriously. Like they were, but it was to the point where like, oh, like we could possibly get this guy. So I told them straight up, I was like, oh, like I'm actually interested. Like I want to change the culture here. Like just recruit me. Like I really don't mind. I'm not gonna waste your time, I told them. And they were like, all right then. So that's the second week Coach Norcross hopped on board, started recruiting me. And then like week by week, just another coach started hitting me up, started talking. So I really like have a relationship with each individual coach on the staff, including on the defensive side of the ball.
Wow, I love that.
And yeah, so and then it just really just transitioned to everything. And I like that the family vibe that they gave me. So that's kind of what the biggest like factor was. And of course, UNLV having my major for school and stuff like that. So it was a good time and place thing, if you get what I'm saying.
No, I totally get it. And what is your major?
So I have 3 in mind, but my two that I'm for sure gonna look into, and if it doesn't work out, then I'll go to my 3rd one. But it'll be first aerospace engineer, and then if not aerospace engineer, CSI, which is criminal justice, all that. And then if that's not gonna work out, then kinesiology.
I'm so proud of you that you have not only a backup plan, but you have a plan C, because most people only have plan A. So you're already doing things right.
Ashley touched on several other subjects in her interview. You can watch the interview in its entirety on our website, rebelreportunlv.com, or our YouTube page.
Up next, we take you to one of the world's most prestigious off-road races happening this weekend.
I'm here at the Man in the Basin, where the Aces are down.
Speedway left Northern Europe City National Day with a majority of the regulars working out.
Coming into the and let's take a look on what they have to say. What does it mean for you to be selected to represent?
The 53rd SCORE International Baja 1000 goes down this weekend. Racers from around the world will head to the Mexican desert to battle it out in one of the world's most prestigious off-road races. The Baja 1000 is the oldest, toughest, and longest continuously run desert race in the world. This year's race will be the longest loop ever at 934.5 miles. Entries this year include drivers from 26 different U.S. states and 13 countries. Fans and spectators especially love when the 1000 rolls into town.
On race day, Ensenada comes to life with spectators. They love off-road racing more than most race fans love Formula One or NASCAR or anything in between.
This year, COVID-19 has presented a new challenge for drivers and race officials. The start and finish this year will be under strict biosecurity health and safety protocols. This means that all race activities and the start-finish area will be closed to the public. The history of the race means a lot to fans and drivers. Former winner of the Baja 1000, Adali Lopez, mentioned what the race means to him and his family.
The Baja 1000 is something really significant for the team and for my family. We spent almost my whole life coming to the 1000 like a fan, and the last 7 years I've been racing.
The race takes off at 4 a.m. on Friday, with motorcycles and quads starting first. The cars, trucks, and UTVs start later on at 10. The first finishers should start rolling across the line in the early hours of Saturday morning.
Hey Kenny, I heard you were on the pizza review this week.
I have. Have you ever been to Pizza Forte?
I have not.
Well, here, let's talk about it. Okay, so we're out here at Pizza Forte. It's across from the school. So that's on Maryland Parkway. I looked on Apple Maps. It said it has 11 reviews. It's all 5 stars. So, I mean, that's high expectations, I'm assuming, right? 11 people think it's 5 stars.
And the 12th is about to give the review.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to go on Yelp after this and leave my Yelp review, so. All right, so it's got a little bit of flop to it. I'm okay with that. This gets more as you hold it. Pretty decent. Looks kind of saucy. I'm not a huge fan of sauce, but you know, one bite. It's got a crunch to it. Not too saucy like I thought. I kind of like that crunch. It's different.
How's the crust?
Let's see.
Ooh.
Very crunchy. Not a huge amount of flavor, but you know, that crunch brings it up a lot. That crunch really saves it. I'm gonna have to give it, I'll give it a 7.8. It's not too bad. Has a little bit of a spice to it. That crunch is very unique. You don't see a crunch a lot in pizza crust, I feel like.
The Vegas Golden Knights add yet another new jersey to their arsenal. It will be the first time the VGK will wear a red jersey, and it will be the first time their secondary logo appears as a jersey crest. The jersey will be added to the current rotation and will be worn periodically throughout the season. The Golden Knights reverse retro jersey pays homage to the teams and players that paved the way in Vegas, while breaking new ground for the Knights. The colors and design pays homage to Vegas' former minor league teams. That will do it for this episode of Rebel Report. Have a good weekend.